So guys, I thought I'd hop on, do a little bit of an Ethereum update. I'm literally just got my coat on, about to hop out, and I got sent this article, which is the largest DeFi exploit that has happened. It was a Solana bridge, so you're bridging Solana to Ethereum ETC, and these hackers basically stole wrapped Ethereum from the wormhole bridge. And what this means is that like 300, like I said, $323 million was stolen in wrapped Ethereum, and obviously the hack affects Ethereum and Solana. So this is bad fundamental news for Ethereum. And just looking at the charts, there's some interesting things that I want to point out to you guys from a technical perspective. Obviously, we have this negative fundamentals that has come out. Not hugely negative, not enough to cause a massive downtick in price, but enough to cause some sort of uncertainty in the markets. And I want to go over how we understand the Ethereum markets at the moment, and a little bit of short-term analysis for you guys, so you can garner a better understanding of what's going to happen with Ethereum in the short term. So obviously we understand that the area of supply, the selling area that we want to break through in order to get to new prices, is this whole large red box here. And within this red box, we have the smaller red box here, which is the last order block. If you look at this accumulation, let's get down into a smaller time frame, and obviously the buying area being this after the crash back in May. This whole area here is a massive area of accumulation where all the buys happen. So we want our buys to happen within this region here. That's why it's highlighted. But we haven't really delved deep enough into this region here to accumulate orders. I do believe that we are going to delve deeper into this region and accumulate more orders. That is how price works. If we want to have massive buys in Ethereum, we're not just going to buy and push through. We'll buy up to a point of supply. Sellers will come into effect. Sellers will take over and bring price down. We'll find a way to liquidate sellers out and accumulate more orders a little bit and then move higher. After a crash, we don't turn around instantly. We take time to accumulate orders. You have to look at volume and understand what's going on in price in order to know when a reversal is happening. So it's not going to be instant. We're not going to touch this box and react away instantly. It's not how it works. But just on a little bit more short-term analysis, I'll go on to the 30-minute time frame because it looked quite good on there. So on this distribution here, when you have a consolidation, this sideways movement, it's either a distribution or an accumulation. And the way you know it's a distribution is after if it contracts, so it goes down after the consolidation, then it's a distribution. If it goes up after the consolidation, it's an accumulation. So bullish accumulation, bearish distribution. That's how we look at it. So of this distribution, we pulled out the fixed range tool, and we had a lovely point of highest volume, which price, before making its downwards move, just came up and tapped this point of highest volume. Why does price do this? When the algorithm makes the decision to move price. So in this consolidation, at this point here, the decision is made that cool, a top has been made in price. Let's turn around and let's start selling. That usually happens at the point of highest volume, just because the point of highest volume is obviously a magnet for price. Within the consolidation, the point where the most volume, the most buying and selling happens, is just like a magnet for price. Super good tool. What we've seen now is this point of highest volume is actually roughly within the equilibrium of this here. So if you draw out from just this bottom to this high, the 50% lines up perfectly with this point of highest volume. So now that we've had this negative news on Ethereum, we do want to come up and test this region, but we want to test this region with strong buys and strong buying power. I believe if we just continue to go up and test this region like now without accumulating more orders, we won't have enough buy orders to properly test this region. If you're in the voice chats, you know that what we want to see from Ethereum is you want it to collect some more orders, come up to this region, and you want Ethereum to be strong enough on the buy side to combat the heavy selling that will happen here. Because once we've reached this region, there's going to be so many people trying to short Bitcoin. Ethereum and Bitcoin, but so many people trying to sort Ethereum. Sorry, it's so bloody early in the morning. And while these people are trying to short, you need a huge amount of buying pressure to counteract it. And you want to see, I don't believe that on our first test of this region, I don't believe we'll break it. I believe that we will just test it and show strength. And we want to show a good bit of strength, and we do that by accumulating more orders. So I don't think that Ethereum is ready to go and test this zone yet. I want to see a little bit more downside so we can accumulate more orders down here. And if you have a look at the price action, I'll go back on to 30 minutes so I can draw this line out, because sometimes it messes up. So we'll draw the line out here. Cool. Lovely. Go down onto a smaller time frame like the 5 minute. You'll see we have a beautiful distribution here. We could draw a fixed range out for this as well as if it reacted off, although I don't believe it did. They're probably going to give it to me like here. Yeah, like there. Makes sense. So we came back up, released all this liquidity up here, and we actually respected this high, which is nice. And then move downwards. So what I'd like to see on Ethereum is a move back up to this distribution region. We have a really strong point of highest volume here. And this whole box, this whole area, but I usually like to use the top 3 candles. So the top 3 candles are in here. So I quite like to see on Ethereum a bit of a push back up. Maybe, let's be realistic, maybe mitigate this zone. So this here would be a mitigation. The way mitigation works, buy before you sell, order blocks. You're basically coming back to test the consolidation region. Sometimes you just tap it, like just literally just tap it, and it just allows the algorithm to like kiss the consolidation region and say, okay, we've returned, we've collected some orders, let's turn around now. So what I'd like to see on Ethereum on the short term is come up and test this, and then move back down to this point of highest volume from a reaction from this zone. So I'll draw that out here and release this liquidity here. So on this big uptick, this big buying pressure here, load of people are in buys here. And what this is here is a point of liquidity. What you see a lot of people do is they'll take a magnet. I think I need to actually go into the symbols to get the magnet. Let's see if I can see it anywhere. I'm sure one of you is looking at the magnet. Yeah, there you go. So a lot of people will draw out a magnet on these little points here, and there's another magnet on this point here, and another magnet on this point here. Why do we do that? On a swing low is like the last low or the last high. So up here is the swing high, up here is the swing low, so the top and the bottom. There's a lot of liquidity in that all the people that are in buys all through here that have made money from buys, their stop loss is here. So once we release that stop loss, how does a buy order work? When you hit a stop loss, it turns into a sell order. You sell out of your buy order. So when price comes down here and breaks this low, what it's doing is releasing a huge amount of sell liquidity. So once these people get stopped out, their buys turn into sells, and there's a lot of sell liquidity. Why is this good? Because it gives us liquidity to buy into. And these big banks, and well, it's not banks because it's not Forex, but these big institutions, what they want to do is they want to buy into this selling liquidity when it's released. So what I'd like to see, as I said, is come up, mitigate, take more orders, have a retracement back down, hopefully to this fixed range, because that would just be beautiful price action. But definitely take this liquidity out here, maybe even break this liquidity down here and mitigate this zone down here before we see further upside. Why do I want to come down before we test this red zone up here? As I've said earlier in the video, you want to test this red zone with strength, and we need a lot of buys for strength. At the moment, I don't believe there's enough buys in the market here for us to test this red zone properly. Like I said, when we come up to this red zone, which I hope is off this fixed range, I want it to be with strength. So I'll make this line bigger so you can see what I mean by with strength. I want there to be a lot of buying that happens down here. So there are a lot of buys that push price up here, and I want price needs to go and collect orders in order to have strength. This pump here is not strength. The strength comes from this accumulation here. And at the moment, I don't believe we've accumulated enough orders to truly test the supply zone. Because if you know what this is, there's a huge amount of selling interest here. So many people want to short Ethereum here. So many people. So in order for us to do what we want to do in Ethereum, we just come up here and just sort of go sideways in this zone for a little bit. Like, I don't believe we're going to break this zone straight away, but I want to see some sideways consolidation. And why do I want to see sideways consolidation? Because if the buyers can set up camp in the seller's zone, you can think of this like a seller's zone, like the hotspot for sellers, like their headquarters. If the buyers are able to set up camp and keep price in their headquarters without a sharp reaction away for a while, it shows strength from buyers, which is good for optics, good for sentiment, good for the market. So I want to make sure that we come down and collect enough orders from this region here, enough buy orders, in order for us to properly test this zone and have this consolidation. I hope this clears things up a little bit on Ethereum and what I'm looking at. As I've said to you guys so many times, Ethereum is not going to be a quick turnaround. After a crash, we look back in May, it took a very, very long time for the market to turn around. It took around about, until we made that bottom, it took around about 62 days. Now, you do have to understand that this last crash in May was more intense. The more intense the crash, the more fear in the market, and therefore the longer the market takes to turn around. So I don't believe we're going to take 60 days to turn around like we did in May. I don't believe that's going to happen. But to think that we're just going to come from this first initial reaction from the buy zone and just blast off upwards is fucking silly. It's very, very silly. It takes time for the market to change sentiment and to gather orders and to do what it wants to do. But short-term analysis on Ethereum, I hope this helps. This is what I see happening on Ethereum in the short term. Coming up to collect some more orders, maybe touching this fixed range. I doubt it, but it would be nice if we could. Definitely can't mitigate this region, come down, back down to this region to mitigate this. So a little bit of a ping pong, up, down, accumulate orders, and then move up to test this region here. This is all completely conceptual and theoretical. The main thing we want to look out for if you're a long-term trader on Ethereum is just wait until we enter this red region here. We have to pay close attention to what price does in this region here. We haven't entered it yet, and I want to do the analysis beforehand so we know like where are we when we enter it. So like I said, if we've collected a lot of orders here, we're in a good position to enter this red zone. But for the long-term Ethereum traders and the ones that have a lot of money in Ethereum, you want to pay attention to what happens in this red zone here. This is an extremely important supply zone, and we want to see how this sellers camp, this camp of sellers, I quite like putting it that way. It's like their base, their headquarters. See how they handle price coming into this zone. Obviously, if price comes in and it just fucks off right away, then that shows that sellers are in complete control, which is not what we want. Not what we want. But I'll update you guys when we get to this zone, obviously. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an update on Ethereum and how I'm seeing the market at the moment. I've got to bugger off, but we're doing a bunch of exciting stuff with all my projects. I'm so excited for the future. I've had loads of meetings in London the last week. Like, we had like a crypto club, like a private NFT club. I've had some trading events and stuff like that. The space is building. You just wait till you guys see the shit that's about to come out of this space. It's absolutely bonkers. I'm so excited to be in this space. NFT, building in the NFT space, building in the crypto space, etc. But yeah, lots of love, guys. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of an Ethereum update. I'm going to go and bugger off now. My bag's over there. But lots of love. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.